Sri Lanka is a travel destination with incredible food, welcoming locals, and a ton of bucket list activities. I spent 3 weeks traveling around the country and never once had to worry about the cost. In today's video, I'll break down exactly what it cost my travel partner and I from the moment that we arrived in Sri Lanka to when we flew out. This video will give you a very good idea of how much you will need to budget for your own dream trip around Sri Lanka. Let's kick things off with accommodations. There are plenty of options depending on your budget, from guest houses to hotels, and the good news is that regardless of which option you choose, you will be getting incredible value for your money. I was traveling with my friend Rick, so we had the option of splitting our accommodation costs and opted mainly for guest houses and hotels with the occasional homestay. A standard double room with AC included is going to cost you around $15 to $20 US. I will quote in USD for simplicity, as I know most of my audience is from the US. Factoring in a 10 to 15% tip on every night's stay, our total accommodation cost came to $390 US for 21 nights. While you can certainly find cheaper accommodations than what we stayed in, keep in mind that hostels are actually not that common outside of the tourist areas or the major cities like Columbo. The least expensive option would probably be doing a homestay, which is very similar to the guest houses, except as the name implies, they are out of one of the locals' homes. Hostels, guest houses, hotels, and homestays can all be found on sites like Booking.com and Agoda. I'll link to some of our favorites down below. Next up is my favorite category, the food. I didn't know much about Sri Lankan cuisine before arriving and naively assumed that it would be similar to Indian cuisine. When I looked at the menus, I was seeing things like roti, curry, rice dishes. So obviously, with the proximity to India, I thought, okay, this is going to be about the same. Wrong. We ate every single meal at restaurants and never came across something we didn't like. We also never had the same meal twice, despite ordering rice and curry a dozen times. The meal consisted of a large plate of rice with anywhere from 4 to 10 different curries in little bowls on the side. There'd usually be a choice of a meat option, my absolute favorite being fish curry. But the mix of different vegetable curries that arrived with the meat option were always a complete surprise. We ate street food from little hole-in-the-wall spots, tourist restaurants, even in a mall basement. All the food was delicious and we were never sick once. We didn't focus our decision on where to eat based on what the restaurant looked like, but more so how many other people were eating there. If the restaurant was full, it kind of indicated that there would be a high turnover of food, which we thought would reduce the risk of getting sick. It apparently worked for us. Breakfast was always included and provided by wherever we stayed the night before, so our costs were very low at only 10 USD for the entire trip. This was for times when we needed something a little more or if we didn't like the option that was being provided. Lunch and dinner costs were 3 to 5 USD each, the cheapest being 1 USD and the most expensive being 11 USD in Ella. Beer, water, smoothies, and soda were ordered separately, adding $1 to $3 to each meal cost. There isn't much of a street food scene in Sri Lanka, but one thing that you have to try is this, it's like a chickpea dish. I'll put the name on the screen, and it's mixed with all of these different spices and shredded coconut. Absolutely delicious and around 50 cents per serving. One recurring grocery item was that we purchased 5-liter jugs of water almost on a daily basis, since you can't drink the tap water. Our total water costs came to $25 US. The total food costs for 2 people over 21 days came to a grand total of $430. This includes a 10% tip, which was often already built into the bill. Next up is transportation. And to be honest, the transportation option in Sri Lanka was actually one of the main reasons that we chose to go there for our trip. Sri Lanka is one of the few countries in the world where a foreigner can legally rent and drive their own tuk-tuk. I can give you more information on this if you're interested in a separate video. Just let me know down in the comments. The longer you rent, the cheaper it is. So pricing for renting our tuk-tuk started at 25 USD, but since we were there 21 days, it came down to 20 USD per day. Our rental cost in total was $420. We drove a total of 12,063 kilometers, or about 785 miles, with our total gas cost coming out to 43 US dollars. That's about 3 cents per kilometer, or 5 cents per mile. After 1,000 kilometers, you also need to grease your tuk-tuk, so that added an extra $3 to our transportation costs, bringing the tuk-tuk rental total to $466. The only additional transportation costs that we incurred during our trip was when we arrived in Negombo and had to take an Uber to Columbo, and then also what we spent in tuk-tuk taxi rides. The grand total of both of these came out to being $34. This brings our entire transportation costs for the whole trip, which was quite long, to be 500 US dollars. You can also consider renting a motorbike or getting around much of the country by bus, where tickets start at about 20 cents each, or even the train, which I highly recommend, and third class is going to cost you about $1 per ticket. Next up is activities and entertainment. There are many free activities to do in Sri Lanka, such as the hiking in Ella or even swimming with the sea turtles in Hikkaduwa. However, when it comes to the activities that are aimed at tourists, they are a little bit more expensive. We did absolutely all the things we wanted to do and never really factored in price as a decision-making factor in whether we would do something or not. Our largest activity expense was a half-day Yala National Park safari, which came to about $60 per person. It was absolutely worth it, and it's one of the best places in the world to spot leopards, which we also did, and mind-blowing. Other activity expenses included a snake farm, surfing lessons, and Rick's trip to Lion Rock. I put the average massage price on here, but shockingly, I did not get one and cannot attest to the quality. Our total activity cost came to $235 for both of us. Some additional uncategorized but also essential costs included a 1-month tourist visa at $35 per person, 2 SIM cards with unlimited data plans, ATM withdrawal fees, toiletries like toothpaste, sunscreen, and bug spray, as well as travel insurance at only $55 for both of us. I also paid for a VPN, which came out to less than $6 for the 21 days. Having a VPN allows you to do things like watch the Bachelorette finale and the NBA game. Any Raptors fans out here? Maybe not after that final game this season. Oof. A VPN allows you to watch these shows and games live, regardless of where you are in the world, because it can get around those geographic restrictions. It's also very important to travel with a VPN because it's going to protect your information as you're connecting to all these different Wi-Fi networks. I'll link to who I use down below, and if you do use my link, you'll get 3 months free, as well as a 30-day risk-free trial period. The grand total of these additional expenses came to $173 for both of us. And when I take all of these categories together and add up all of our trip costs,
drum roll please,
the total cost for 2 people to spend 21 days traveling around Sri Lanka with very little budgeting came to $1,728 USD. That makes our costs at $865 per person, but keep in mind that if you are traveling solo, it is going to cost you more in accommodations because you can't just split the cost down the middle with someone else. We each booked a round trip from Bangkok to Colombo, which ended up costing each of us $300. Including the flight, the entire experience cost us about $1,000 USD per person, $1,014 to be exact. Our combined cost per week was $576, which came out to $82 a day or $41 a day per person, making our estimate to travel for 4 weeks, or about a month in Sri Lanka, to be $2,300 for the two of us. Based on these costs, I estimate spending 1 month in Sri Lanka to cost only $1,150 per person. This absolutely amazes me, considering that we did all the things we wanted to do and ate all the food we wanted to eat and didn't skimp on anything. We got incredible value for the money that we spent, and it was a blow your mind type of holiday. I can't recommend Sri Lanka highly enough, and hope you will share this video to help show others how accessible it really is to have an incredible vacation in the country. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really supports my channel. Or apparently it does. I don't really understand the YouTube algorithm. Let me know if you would consider traveling to Sri Lanka once the borders reopen, and then I hope to catch you back on the channel again for another video next week. Bye!